Hi,
Hello. Ready for another podcast?
I'm ready. So,
Okay.
we've been getting a lot of good feedback about this podcast. I keep running into people in situations I don't expect, even outside of the organization. It's like, hey, I've been watching your podcast. Who are you? You know, so it's cool. But some folks, most folks have been excited about it, but every once in a while, like, yeah, there's a lot of these topics that go over my head. And that's okay. I think hopefully we're getting out a version or things out there that are going to be sort of entry level and things that are going to be more advanced. Not everybody's going to be programming with these tools. So today, one of the things we're going to be talking about until very recently was called NotebookLM, but it has just been renamed Gemini Notebook.
Yeah,
So
like just rename it
yeah,
because we had titled the podcast Notebook LM, and then when
yep,
we opened the page, we saw it was
yeah,
Gemini Notebook now.
yeah.
So
I think within
can't
the
keep
last
up
week,
anymore.
yeah. So here we go. Um, so it is still notebooklm.google.com. We'll put a link in there. But just a big overview of what is Notebook LM. What Notebook LM originally what we used it for was generating summaries of documents. Quick summary, like I've got a 500 page or a 200 page document. I want a 3-page summary. That is what NotebookLM has been really good at, and it's not always a text summary. So I'm
Well,
going.
and also videos. I mean, I've used
Yep.
it mainly to summarize videos. You just drop a video in or a couple, and it'll
Mhm.
just give you a summary.
Okay. So I'm in a book study, Bible study. We're going through this book, and we needed some outlines for discussion topics every time we go into a chapter. And so I have created, among other notebooks, I've created a notebook for this book study. I've added an EPUB copy. There are still places where you can go out and you can buy copies of digital books that are not constrained by they're constrained by copyright, but not by digital rights management. So you can make a document out of them and work with them. So I went and got a copy of this book that I could use, and then I pull it in here. And so I've had conversations. The original thing was I said, okay, I could I added the document. When you create a new one of these, it starts with, well, what do you want to add? And you can give it websites or you can give it documents. And this one is just this book. And so I came up and I said, great. Right here, I gave it a little bit of a prompt. I said, you are a biblical scholar with experience in Bible translation and biblical backgrounds. Give me a 500-word summary of the introductory chapter. Now, if you didn't have a copy of the document, you could ask for a summary of the book and it would go out to the internet and it would look at Amazon and it would look at Google Books. It would try and find it somewhere. But this actually has a copy of the document. So it went through and it gave me, I'd already read this section. So it gave me what was a really solid um, review summary. And it actually has citations. So like this, when I mouse over here, it's showing the section where that section came from.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
it basically created cliff notes for the introduction, which this introduction does more than most chapters do. And then I was able to continue. Just great. Now do chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. I ended up creating a document, a Google document here that has each of these sections, so that our group, as we do the Bible or the study, we can add comments and discussions and have it. But we have a nice outline of what's there. One of the other things is I said, well, this book doesn't have a glossary. Give me a glossary of his terms, how this author's terms, how he has defined them. And
Wow.
so it's given me that. And so there is a whole lot extra in here of like, okay, well, you know, any of these terms can be described or defined in many different ways, but I was like, don't go out, just give me a general summary of how he has done these terms. So,
Well, you
uh,
could even use that writing a book or something. Just
mhm,
stick it in there and say, create a glossary for me.
exactly. So one of the coolest things that we originally started working with, or started using NotebookLM for, is this audio overview. You can give it a document, and if it's something that you want to get the general idea of. So one of the things that we originally have used NotebookLM for is just getting an audio summary to allow us to engage with a document or a video or something. And so this is a summary. I didn't give it any specific instructions. I just said generate an audio overview of this document, and it will generate this. So here we go.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is to take a pretty huge stack of research, primarily centered around Matthew W. Bates's theological book, Salvation by Allegiance Alone, and, well, extract a seriously mind-bending insight from it.
Yeah, we're going to look at the true original meaning of a word that honestly you hear every single day.
Right, but to get there, I want you to think about that 1987 George Michael song. You know the one, Faith. Picture it, the leather jacket, the skinny jeans, the acoustic guitar.
Oh, yeah, and that absolutely inescapable chorus.
Yes, the whole "'cause I gotta have faith, faith, faith" thing. I mean, it's catchy, it's totally iconic, but if
Yeah. So this is content that is in the opening chapter. It does talk about this George Michael song and all that, but it's an engaging. It's always these two voices, this guy and this girl voice, male and female voice that are. But it's really, honestly, quite well done. Every time I've had one of these, it's been well done. And you can target it to a specific section, like give me a review of this. I mean, it is basically Cliff Notes, and it makes the content a little more engaging, and a good summary. There's a lot more that you can do here. So I'm going to jump to, all right, so if I can close that one. So the big thing you can do is you can just literally ask questions. So one of these is we were in discussion in the meeting, and somebody was like, "Hey, this book is really responding to a Western Protestant problem." So I said, "Well, it is responding to the trends in Western Protestant Church. Are there elements in this book that Catholics, Eastern Orthodox, or others would respond to?" And it's just going out and coming through. So it is basing things on the document I gave it, but it's also using what Gemini knows about the world, to come up with a response. It was pretty impressive about, the various things. Of course, yeah, union and participation, and Apostles' Creed. Pretty much whatever it is that you could ask a well-informed pastor about, you can ask those sorts of questions and get something. And obviously, this works for documents that are not specifically faith-based. So if you ever just want a quick summary of a story or a chapter or a text, and you have a copy of that, or you can point it to where it exists on the web, this is a great place to come to do that. And you can add a bunch of documents and have it compare them. Like, here's two documents. Tell me where these authors seem to disagree, or where do they line up? And once you've got those in there, you can ask it to build you all sorts of things. So this one here was a theology mind map. So this is the title, and then the problem is misunderstanding of faith, as the author says. And then these are some of the points under that, and these are some, and so it's given you sort of outlines that you can use to get further into it. So if I go back here, these are some of the questions that I've asked. Let's see here. Let me back out here. Sometimes it's not just languages. So I actually gave it an outline of my MCP tool and some information, and I had it generate some infographics for me. Generate a diagram of how this tool works. And if you know anything about LLMs, the fact that this is any of this text is actually legible and makes sense is amazing. But this is a really good overview, a diagram, even a Mike Cochran level diagram of that is a great overview of a starting point. And if I don't like something about it, I can tweak it a little bit and say, hey, well, focus a little more on this.
Yeah, that is a tool that I have used, the infographic. If you're creating a presentation, a PowerPoint or something, and you need an infographic, this is one of the good and easy ways to create an infographic.
Yep.
And so I think some of these you might be able to just create in Gemini directly, but this is a really good way to do it. And I think if you click the arrow next to infographic, you can give it some instructions.
Yes.
So you can say,
describe it.
you can
describe
give
what
it
you want.
more information. Say, I want the infographic to cover these particular components or whatever.
Yeah, you could paste in the section you wanted or describe it, and you got the style. You know, do you want it to be claymation? That could be fun. And do you want it landscape, portrait, square? What language do you want it in? Now, these don't generate immediately. It takes a minute or so for a lot of these to generate, but you just do that and wait, and you only get a certain amount of them per day or whatever. At one point, I was really trying to tweak an infographic, and I had about 5 of them that were really close, and it was like, you've used up your limit. But again, the next day I had more available. These slide decks can be great. I'm trying to think if I have one that actually where I've generated a slide deck. There was this one. Did I do a slide deck for this one? No, I didn't. These were infographics. So this was another one where I was having it generate infographics for a presentation I was about to do. But yeah, if you want a slide deck here, you can generate that slide deck, and it will be a little summary of that section that you can take and tweak. Flashcards, quizzes. There you go. I just saw a meme yesterday that said students are saying, "Hey Claude, do my homework," and teachers are saying, "Hey Claude, write my assignments, do my grading." That's a fair point. Video overviews. I don't have any good ones, but these video overviews are the same sort of thing as that audio, where it's going to generate a video. And it used to be you sort of had to, if you didn't like it, you just had to start over and do another one. But my understanding is that now you can take these into Google Slides or into Google Vids or whatever, and you can tweak them. So these are new features. I mean, they say beta here for this and that, but I've been using this one for quite a while. The sky's the limit of what sort of things you can do here. So with this tool, if you have a whole bunch of documents and you just want a summary, or you want to find things about them, or you want to just explore them, then you just literally add them here and you just start asking questions. I believe this free version, the free version we have unlocked, allows you to add about 20 documents per notebook, but then you can have a whole bunch of notebooks that are subject-based. You don't want to mix things from different topics in the same notebook. It's going to muddy the waters. So this was, I was working on some other things, Cloud Code Router, how I was going to set things up. And there's a little preview telling me, this is a little podcast explaining to me Cloud Code Router. But this is something that is accessible for anyone. I mean, anyone with a Gmail account. You don't even have to be a member of an organization that uses Google. Obviously, if you are a member and you're logged in as your account, then you can do private documents and it's okay. If you have documents that have internal information, you should not be adding them to your Gmail account. But if you're doing Bible study or something like that, you can just do that on your personal Gmail account. It's just something that's really accessible, and most people you run into, they have a Gmail account. And so they can just go straight to notebooklm.google.com and work. You can also share notebooks with people. So this notebook has been shared with another person, so they can look at what I've done and they can add to it. Um, it's a great resource. So.
Yep. Yeah. So if you have not yet tried Gemini Notebook,
Yeah, I keep calling it NotebookLM.
we encourage you to give it a try. And one of the ways I mentioned early on is that there's YouTube videos that are like podcasts. Some of them are an hour long. I don't want to spend an hour listening to it when I'm not even sure if it has something I'm interested in or if it's going to have the right take. And so I can dump that into NotebookLM, and it immediately scans the whole script of the video and comes up with like the main points and structure, and it will give a report on it. And you can even have like a podcast version of the video that's audio only, that talks about all the main points and things that are discussed, but does it in 7 minutes instead of like 45. So there's lots of ways to use it.
So if 20 minutes is too long to listen to our podcast, you can have NotebookLM summarize the podcast and tell you what you really need to know.
You can even make an infographic of this podcast.
Yep. And we should do that. Maybe we'll attach an infographic of this podcast to the into the comments section. So yeah, I hope this has been useful. It's a lot of fun to play with. Now, it's not perfect. I mean, there are going to be things where it's going to be, if you are a specialist in that field, then you may be like, well, it was a little fuzzy on that. But when it's a summary, it's okay for it to be fuzzy. And if you ask it to dive into that thing or just to distinguish these things, then it will get better. So as I said, the original versions, it was sort of, if you don't like it, you throw it out. But now you're getting to the point where there are little tweaks that you can do. If it's 95% of the way there, you can work with it. And you can just use this for the start of, if you do a slide deck, you can use that as the start of your presentation. Use it as
The slide decks used to be annoying because it would come up with these beautiful slides, but they were all images. And if you wanted to tweak the text or do anything on the slide, you couldn't change it.
Yeah, you had to take it into Photoshop or GIMP or something.
Yeah, and I believe now that they've got it so that it imports natively into Google Slides, and so now you can tweak the text and do things on them. So that's helpful.
Yep. So what is this? Oh, there we go. This is I pasted some information about what our AI advisory group, and generated in the blueprint style some of the stuff that we had worked on. I didn't end up using it, but this was one of the styles was blueprint, and so it's making handy little diagrams for talking points about some of the various things that we had worked on. But yeah, this can be a really great way if you got a presentation and you're like, oh, it would be really great if I had some visuals to go with this, but you already have the document written. Just throw it in there and say, hey, give me 5 slides for a background as I go through this. I don't know yet if we can have a way to like make it use SIL branding. Maybe we can create a template and we can have it use the template. I don't know yet, but that would be something interesting to explore.
Yeah, I think that would be more on a paid account.
Probably so. Yeah, it's probably a workspace account. So. All right. Well, go and explore. Have fun. If you have unlocked the your AI account through GTIS, then you can use it, or you can use it on your personal account for personal things. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks a lot, Matthew, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.